Hello again, everyone. Continuing Philadelphia week. Today I'm going to look at the Philadelphia 76ers of the NBA. 76ers are a struggling team this year, 18-57 record, so not a lot to be excited about in Philadelphia and Sixer Nation for this season, but there's a lot of reasons why they do have a struggling team. They don't have a lot of experience. Looking at Jason Richardson, who's really their only veteran on the team, if you look at the whole roster and then you just remove Mbah a Moute, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, if you take him out of the rest of their roster, Jason Richardson has more experience than everybody else combined. They have 4 players that were born in 1994 and 2 born in 93. So that's why they struggle. They just don't have the experience. They don't have the team chemistry. When you look at playoff teams and teams that make deep playoff pushes and win NBA championships, they have veterans. They have players that have experience. They have guys that can come off the bench and contribute and make an impact. They just don't have that yet. The upside with the 76ers is they do play in the Eastern Conference, which is the weaker of the two conferences by far. Like I've said in previous posts, in the Eastern Conference, the team that has a 10-game below 500 record is going to make it in the playoff picture for the Eastern Conference, but teams that have 5+ games above 500 in the West are going to miss the playoffs. So the Eastern Conference is definitely the weaker of the two conferences, and the Sixers also play, in my opinion, in the weakest division of the Eastern Conference in the Atlantic. Outside of the Raptors, they do have the Nets, the Celtics, and the Knicks, which are all teams that can be competitive and are bubble teams, but they do play in a division where in a few years they're going to be competitive and have an opportunity to make a playoff push, especially playing in the East and playing in the Atlantic division. They're going to have an opportunity to go places. At the trade deadline, they've also done things that are going to show that they're going to continue to rebuild and continue to improve with a lot of the trades they made. They acquired 2 first-round picks in the upcoming draft as well as 2 second-round picks in the upcoming draft. So whether or not they use those draft picks and draft good young talent, or they use those as trade bait to try to acquire some veteran players from other teams. We'll see what happens. The free agent market isn't probably going to be a venue that they can look at to acquire talent and get big name stars, because players aren't going to want to go to a team that is in a rebuilding stage and is a few years away at least from a playoff appearance or a championship contending talented team. So you're not going to see the 76ers being very active in free agency, unless you find a veteran who's won a few championships, who wants to help be more of a leader and be more of a tutor to some younger players that the 76ers have. You might be able to find somebody like that. But if somebody like Carmelo Anthony or a star like that became available in free agency, the 76ers are not going to be a place that they're probably going to be looking at to go and play. So the 76ers are going to struggle for the next few years, but they got a lot of young talent that are going to grow and develop, and with that young talent, they're going to be able to grow and develop together and build that team chemistry as a unit. Nerlens Noel is obviously kind of the forefront of, I think, this development that's going to continue to happen. He's averaging 10 points a game and 8.2 boards, so he's almost a double-double kind of a guy. Again, he's a rookie playing on a struggling team. He doesn't have a lot of veterans around there to help guide him and help get him the ball and help learn and help him to learn how to be a successful player in the NBA. So he's going to have to do a lot of that from coaching staff, a lot of self-growth, and improving in the offseason as well. Like I said with Jason Richardson, he's also been hurt. He hasn't been in too many games. Over the course of his career, he's played in 853 games, and all but 12 of those as a starter. And just recently, he passed the 14,600 point plateau kind of thing. So he's obviously been a guy that's been very successful in this league. He's also averaged 17.1 points per game with 5 boards over the course of his career. So he's a good veteran to have on your team, a good guy that these players can learn from. But he was born in 81, obviously, so he's in his mid-30s now. He's not the star he used to be for sure, but he is a good player that the team can learn from. Looking at some other guys they have on their team that are going to continue to grow and make an impact. Roten, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Again, if I pronounce the player's name wrong, I do apologize. He was just born in 93. He's only appeared in 30 games this year, but he contributes 16.9 points per game. So if you take him as well as Noel, you got 2 solid building blocks that you can continue to develop a roster around. You also have other guys that you picked up. Cannon with through the trade at the trade deadline. He contributes 12.4 points per game with 2.4 boards and 3 assists. Isaiah Smith, another guy. He's only appeared in 17 games, but he contributes 12 points per game with 6.1 assists. So he's a good guy that can distribute the ball. Roten also as well. Like I said, with his 16.9 points per game, he also contributes 5.2 assists. So he can distribute the ball effectively as well. So you do have players that are going to be successful in this league. It's just a matter of finding players that you can try to get with trades, maybe in the offseason. Like I said, they do have 3 first-round picks now this upcoming year. So you could try to use those, see if you can find a team that would be willing to get some draft picks. Maybe send you some talent that is, maybe 2 or 3 years into the league kind of thing, so not a proven veteran yet, but have a little more experience that these guys can grow and learn from. But I think what Sixer Nation has to realize is they're going to have to be patient. They're going to have to wait for these guys to develop and see what direction they get headed. Playing in the Eastern Conference is going to be a benefit for them. Playing in the Atlantic Division is going to be a benefit for them as well. So it's going to take a few years for them to develop and mesh as a team, but they do have a promising future. So good luck to the Sixers finishing off this season. Try to finish strong. Try to finish with a 20-win season. I know that's not anything to be proud of or excited for, but it would be a nice little boost kind of thing. And then next year you just keep growing, you keep developing, and you keep getting better. And then who knows, by the end of this decade they could be competing for a championship. In an optimistic mindset, that's where the Sixers would be heading. So good luck to the Sixers as they finish off this season. Be an interesting offseason for them. Maybe they can get some players. Maybe these guys will continue to grow and develop. And like I said, by the end of the decade, they're making some playoff runs. Thank you again for watching. You can follow me on Twitter at GHAM614. I'll be finishing off Philadelphia week tomorrow with my look at the Philadelphia Eagles of the NFL.